Sakamoto Days Season 1 Part 2 is now officially done and dusted. All of the episodes are now available for you guys to go and watch. We're going to talk about it. Smash your thoughts down below. Smash that like button, click subscribe, and let's talk Sakamoto Days. So Sakamoto Days Part 2 is now officially finished of Season 1. And look, I'm going to be completely honest. I freaking love Sakamoto Days. I really enjoyed the first part of Season 1. I know some people had some issues with the animation and stuff like that. But I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. And I really liked the animation style. I thought it worked really, really well for the story that they're telling. But come to Part 2. Part 2 blows Part 1 out of the water. Completely blows it out of the water. Not only is it an upgrade in the animation, you can tell, but the story itself and the characters get a lot of growth, and we get introduced to a lot of new characters and a new villain that I think is just one of the better villains. So obviously in this season we deal with the criminals at the start, which had some epic fights, like some of the best fights of the year. I mean, you have that one chick from the Order whipping out a freaking giant, like, I don't know, saw thing out and like just cutting this woman apart. You have Sakamoto fighting the string guy, which was fantastic. You could feel the narrative that was driven in that fight. And then you had Shin and Lu fighting this other guy who likes to end people because it's poetic and it's, you know, it's almost like a movie and gets to see them in their final moments. We get to see Shin unlock some new abilities. We also got the epic fight of Nagamo, who just showcased that he's an absolute badass and is becoming one of my favorite characters as well in the whole entire show. So we had all that at the start, which was fantastic, but the fights were the narratives of the fights is what made those fights even better. Like, I love a good fight sequence. Who doesn't? But when you throw in the narrative, it just elevates it to the next level. For instance, the whole String Man versus Sakamoto, that fight was the ideology fight of them two coming together and how they were actually close to each other in what they believed and stuff like that, except one went down the dark road, and I really enjoyed that. But then you get into the next part where they're going in to try and infiltrate the JCC and everything to do with Slur. Slur comes across as a great villain already. Like, he comes as that villain that is menacing, has a goal and a motive that you understand where he's going. So he wants to get rid of the assassin organization. That's what he wants to do. He wants to get rid of it completely. And you're starting to learn more about this character. Not only that, but he does have that fear factor about him. He does feel like, oh, this is a guy that I can't mess with. And I love when they do villains like that, because it immediately makes you feel like, okay, this is a threat. This isn't just some walking. Like, the criminals didn't really feel like a threat because of how easily they were dispatched. They never really had that aura about them. But Slur has that aura. He has that aura of being calm, collective, smart, strong, and someone you don't want to mess with. Someone that will go to the lengths of the earth to do what he needs to do. So I really, really like that. I also love the introduction of Gaku. Gaku is becoming one of my favorite characters in the series. I love that character. And he was freaking badass in this. Like, his fight was great as well. But it's the moment where he took over the body during the exam, and you got to see his playfulness as well. Like, that is one of the things that I love about Gaku's character and why I think he's such a great villain as well, is because of the playfulness that he has. He enjoys it. He isn't someone that is just doing it for the sake of doing it. He does it because he enjoys. He wants to have that fight, and he loves to test himself while also aligning himself with what Slur wants to do, and I really like that aspect about it. Now, I also love the development of Shin in this whole entire series. You guys know, if you've watched my first part and my other reviews on Sakamoto, you know that Shin is my favorite character. And this whole entire part 2 developed that character a lot more and made me love Shin even more. You know, this idea of him seeing himself as the anchor, essentially, that is holding back Sakamoto. He is always needing to be saved by Sakamoto. But coming to the realization that it's not necessarily that he always needs to be saved, but Sakamoto just trusts him to do other things. There's a pivotal moment in this season where Shin feels like that after a thing, and Sakamoto's like, it's not like that. He just trusts you to deal with this pit because he needs you to do that. And I love how Shin starts to come in, and him unlocking this new Ultra Instinct sort of thing where he is able to predict the movements, I think was freaking badass. And to see Shin push through his limits to become a person who can stand on his own feet, I thoroughly enjoyed. And watching him also become a mentor in a way that, like Sakamoto is for him, he becomes a mentor for that young kid who is, you know, a bit of a clean freak, a germaphobe. And seeing him try to put him under the wing in a way where he makes him feel like, look, I don't want to be a burden to Mr. Sakamoto. I need to see a day where I am strong enough to stand on my own 2 feet. And that plays a pivotal role in that character's development, because there's the moment where he's watching Shin and he's like, why do you keep doing it? Like, what are you doing? And when Shin says that, he's like, you know what? Yes, I'm with you, Shin. So I really like that. Then we also have this new character being introduced, this young girl who is actually related to someone Sakamoto knows very deeply. And I'm very intrigued to see how that story progresses. But she had this badass moment where she loses control, essentially. Like, it's like almost controlled in a way, but she doesn't know she's doing it. And she has this badass moment where she's basically flat out going to kill someone. Sakamoto stops her. But I love how Sakamoto is taking on that mentor role for these younger assassins and mentoring them in a way where where he's trying to say, like, killing isn't always the answer. Like, killing someone is not the way to do it. There is other ways to do it, and I really thoroughly enjoy that as well. Now, I thought the animation was fantastic. I thought the fights were fantastic. Like, every single fight had narrative, and that is something that I truly love about Sakamoto, is the narrative that they spin with each fight. You feel the characters are fighting for a purpose. They are fighting for an ideology. They are fighting for something. It's not just visual noise, because I've always said a great action sequence, if it doesn't have narrative, it's just visual noise. It's just things coming together. But if you have a story and a fight is telling that story and you can feel that, you are more emotionally invested in it. And I think part 2 does that so well, where we are totally invested. And then you get to today's episode, the ending episode, where Nagamo transforms Sakamoto into his wife to go and become a teacher because he can't go in there because of the bounty. And then you have that moment where he just like props up, and I was like, but I was like, at first, because they're like, oh, Nagamo's like, you know, you don't have to go, like, Sakamoto can't go, but, and then he looks at his wife, and I'm like, okay, so the wife's gonna go in, like, is this her chance? And I'm like, obviously Sakamoto's probably got taught her a few things here and there to basically self-defense. And then when she rocks up and she just nails his kid, I was like, damn, she is badass. But again, it's like the Nagami stuff where we thought, oh, Sakamoto's wife's great, but it was Nagami in disguise. This is Sakamoto in disguise. Sakamoto is pissed off bad at Nagamo, and he's like, I'm gonna get you for this. But him and Shin have infiltrated it, the JCC, so I'm interested to see where that happens. Slur obviously took the germaphobe kid and the Sakamoto fangirl to come and recruit them for their whole thing, because Gaku said that they were the two that he thought he could see joining them. So we have that storyline going on as well, but it ended brilliantly. I am so excited for season 2. I need season 2 ASAP. I haven't had as much fun in an anime like this, because like Sakamoto Days is that anime that I always enjoy watching. I always get a smile from it. It's badass. It's awesome. It feels fun. It truly does. And it feels like they give a shit about it as well. It has the heart and soul. I think it is probably one of the most underrated animes currently right now going on. I don't think people talk about this enough in the discussion of maybe potentially being in the Anime of the Year awards. I think it, for me, I'm going to do a top 10 list of my animes of the year so far. And will Sakamoto be in it? Will it not? I don't know. But I do think it's underrated. I don't think it's talked about enough, especially this part, because this part is so much better than part 1. It's absolutely fantastic. But let me know what you guys thought of Sakamoto Days Part 2. Did you guys enjoy it? Did you not? Smash it down in the comment section below. Smash that like button for me. Click subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video. Until then, stay safe, and peace out.